Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this very special episode of In the Spotlight with me, your host, Seamus Corry, wellbeing consultant and mental health trained practitioner. I'm delighted to welcome you to In the Spotlight this afternoon. And can I just say, as I always do right at the top of each and every episode, thank you. A sincere thank you for your support, for your encouragement, for your comments, for your following, and for your subscription. We are up to 139 followers now on YouTube with a massive 17 followers on Spotify. So please share these episodes with your family, share them with your friends, get the message out loud and proud that these episodes are all about sharing the hope, light and love that there is in the world with some amazing special people that are doing some amazing work in these spaces at the moment. And you won't want to miss today's episode because the person I have in front of me, I am humbled and honoured to sit in the same space as. She is and continues to be an inspiration to me on a daily basis. Her own journey is inspirational, you know, to move from a permanent career to engage her true alignment, her true mission and her true purpose. Back in 2015 to establish a wonderful business, a wonderful foundation, a publishing business, a podcast series. You know, she is a creative, she is a writer, she is an artist, she is a mom. She's just one amazing and incredible human being. I wonder sometimes how she's managed to be able to pack it all in. And maybe we can dissect some of that as we go through. It's my pleasure, honor and privilege to welcome on to this very special episode this afternoon of In the Spotlight, Dana Sardano. Dana, how are you and how are things going, my friend?
Oh, Seamus, you sure know how to make someone feel pretty. I'm like, he's saying all those things about me.
Yeah, I see you, man.
I'll tell you this. You do, and I see you too, and I so appreciate you. And you made the comment about I don't know how she gets all those things done.
Yeah.
Hearing you say it, like I'm like, oh my God. How do I? Oh my God! But when you're living in line with your purpose,
yeah,
you just do what feels good, and so there's no concept of work, but it doesn't feel laborious. So
you go with the flow, right? You go with the flow, right? You're in your flow, you're in your energy, you're in your zone, you're in your alignment, which is wonderful. And listen, can I celebrate with you? I forgot to add TV celebrity to that list.
Oh, do you know who I am?
I do. I thought I would have to speak to your agent before I spoke to you this afternoon, you know, just to cross the T's and dot the I's in terms of contract.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, I found myself on TV, did a little interview, a little stint. It's, you know, we're getting there.
It's fantastic. It is fantastic. South Florida, watch out. Dana's about. She's coming at you. She's coming to get you. She's going to have her own TV channel. I can see it in my mind's eye. I can see it. I absolutely see it. That is one TV channel I would definitely turn the TV on for.
Oh, I appreciate that. You know what, Seamus, though? I got to tell you, as far as for integrity's sake and really being honest with myself, I ask myself, like I constantly check in with, you know, oh, the TV and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And is it about celebrity? And it's truly not. There's such a powerful message that I'm trying to convey, that many of us are conveying in our own way. We all put our own brand, we all put our own stink on it.
Yeah.
But you see, I am so passionate. I know what my purpose is. I know what my mission is. I know what I'm looking to convey. And so I need to be visible. So I need to have the show be on, you know, inside South Florida, go out, speak to the masses, do whatever it takes, because what I want to share with everybody, I feel, is extremely important. So we joke, right, about the celebrity, but it's not about celebrity. It's about being seen by a large number of people so we can spread what we're trying to spread here.
Absolutely, and listen, your creative, your writing ability is absolutely incredible, Dana Sardano.
Oh
Absolutely
my
incredible,
God.
right? You knocked me off my seat with the 10 Rex to personal empowerment, right? You kept me on the floor with decoding the woo woo, right?
Yeah.
And you've completely blown me away by the third book in the series, The Woo Woo Is You, which just recently was published. And I was privileged and honored to be selected by you as one of your beta readers, or someone to read the manuscript before it was published. And my word, Dana, my word, this book is a powerful testimony to what it means to live today, right? What it means to live today, what it means to truly live and be in alignment with your purpose. Now, if you ever wanted a roadmap for life, those
Yeah.
three books in their entirety is all you need, right?
What do you think? Like it's hard because I'm on it's mine. I'm on top of it. Like there's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
extreme bias. But I will tell you, I'm an educator. I've been an educator my whole life. Like it's who I am as well as what I have done all these years. And what I'm seeing in my, unintentional spiritual awakening, spiritual journey, I say unintentional because nobody's looking for it. You kind of get knocked down, you
yeah,
get up and you're like, okay, we're doing this.
yeah, yeah,
And in doing that, that's how, like, getting myself back into alignment, getting myself out of the muck and into a place where I felt well, happy, and whole. That's how 10 Rex was birthed. Oh, this is what I gleaned from those shitty experiences, and this is how I could assist others. And then decoding the woo woo is really, hey, once you do that, there's a spiritual awakening that happens, and all this that comes with it, and just kind of clears it up for people while telling my story.
yeah,
And then this third book is here's how you do it. But what I'm seeing often is people have these ideas and these beliefs and they want to assist, but they're not breaking it down. So it's intimidating for the recipient. So I know I want to change my life and I get these books and I'm like, okay, all these philosophical ideas or very specific directives. Do this in your job, do this in your relationships, but it's not really creating the foundation for the recipient, for the reader. And as an educator, I'm able to see people where they're at and understand where they came from
yeah,
and then help them get to where they're going. Like we all have our gifts. That is my gift. And I pour that into all three of these books, but specifically this one.
yeah,
This one, I mean, I break it down detail by detail.
yeah,
Get up, put your pants on, look in the
yeah,
mirror, brush your teeth. Like
yeah.
I break
Wash your
it down step by
face.
step.
Yeah,
Wash your face.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I love it. I love it. Right. Even from the get-go, right? Even from the get-go. And I'm turning just to what would you say is the belief page, right? The belief page, which is
What page are you on?
uh,
I'll get
I'm
to the same page.
I'm on XIV, whatever that number is in Latin
Pretty
numeral.
sure that's 14 if I'm okay. XIV, here we are.
XIV, right? XIV, right? And you read and I read there and I've read there and I read this over and over and over and over again. In fact, if you've not purchased the book already, I recommend to everybody listening to this podcast episode today, get to phenom-publishing.com and publish and purchase this book, right? Have this by your side on a day-to-day basis because this book will inspire you. It will thrive you. It will energize you. It will ignite you to change your life, right? Because, and you're right, maybe it's time to believe in the magic of ourselves. Maybe it's time to consider that we are worth believing in, that the power is in our hands to create our heart's desires. Oh my word, Dana. Where 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 did that come from? Where do your
I
beautiful
don't know, Seamus. It just shows up.
It's beautiful. Is it channeled through the universe, through you, into your hands, onto the paper? It's beautiful. These are beautiful words. These are powerful words, Dana.
I have to tell you, Seamus, I know you're half joking. Is it channeled? I think what people don't realize, and that's the whole idea. I mean, the title is You've Cracked the Code, Woo is You. It's this
Yeah,
idea that nothing is outside of you. Nothing is outside of you. It is all within you.
yeah,
So when I think, and I'm going to jump to concepts that are like now in chapter 12 and 13 in the book,
yeah.
like later on, but I think I think most people assume that these spiritual gifts, like channeling, because you just mentioned that, are somebody else's gift,
Yeah.
right? And what people don't realize is we all have the ability to channel. There's a universal love, a universal wisdom, right?
Mm,
A universal intelligence. We could
mm,
all agree on that, I think, regardless of what you call it.
yeah,
Call it God, Hashem, Allah, whatever you want to call it. But
yeah.
there is a source, there's a universal intelligence, and we are all an aspect of that intelligence. We are a part of it. It's none of it is outside of us. But what keeps us separated from that intelligence is our imbalances within ourselves. So when and we could talk about the hows and the whys because it's all in the book, but when we reconcile all of our individual imbalances within ourselves, we open up our channel
Yeah.
and then allow that universal love, that universal wisdom, that creativity, that inspiration to flow through us. So you said half jokingly, is this channeled? Yeah.
Yeah.
The artwork behind me, is it channeled? Yeah, because when I'm in that flow state, when I am in balance, when I'm well, happy, and whole, it just comes through me with ease. I I'm in the process now where the sticky note is reading the audiobook. I'm like, yeah. I got some done yesterday, as a matter of fact. I'm actually on
Excellent.
chapter 10, so I'm far through it. And as I'm reading it, I swear to you, I'm like, who wrote that? Like my memory I'm like, oh my God, she's so smart. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
it didn't come from me. It came through me because my channel is clear and balanced to allow it to come through. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. So in essence, you got to clear everything else out of the way in order for that message to come through loud and clear and, through you and onto the page, basically.
And that's for all of us in all aspects of our life.
Mm.
So many of us are seeking clarity. We all, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's so much confusion and chaos in our lives, and especially in the world around us. And with information, it's all coming at us all the time. And so the answer is, well, how do you cut through the chaos? Well, you create clarity within yourself, and then you'll find clarity externally. And that's the same as clearing your channel.
Oh my word. It's as if we're in total alignment today because my next piece that I was going to read from the book comes from, and I love your writing style, Dana. I love your writing style because, it's like the small print on a contract, right? So when you go to chapter one of your book, you talk about first things first. There are kind of
I get
10,
it.
10 guidance principles that people have got to sign up to in order to progress through this book, right?
Yeah.
And as if by magic, it's not magic. It's just we're both vibrating at the same level, and we have the same energy, and we have a singularity of mind and vision and heart. But I've stopped at number 5 on that list, and I'm not going to read them all because I would disrespect the book by reading them all. I think it's up to people to get out and purchase the book and read them for themselves and take it in just as I have into my heart for myself. But five for me speaks absolute volumes, and I think I've spent days and weeks just on number 5, just on number 5, and we haven't even got
Oh,
to
that's so cool.
just on number 5. I hadn't even got to the main body of the book yet, right? So number 5 says, I'm going to read it if you don't mind. Clarity in your exterior world is a direct result of clarity in your interior world. When in doubt, look within. When your external world feels really chaotic and unpredictable, The only thing you can really count on is you. And not the you that you're masquerading around town as, the you that you can only know when you become still, when you quieten and quiet all distractions. In that stillness, in that quiet, that you will gift you with the much needed clarity to better face your exterior world. I have never heard a more powerful truth in my whole life. Never.
That's really cool that it's that one thing out of 10 that connected with you like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's powerful, right? And the reason why it connects with me is that we live in a fast moving, changing,
Yeah.
volatile, chaotic world right now, where
Yes. Yeah.
exteriorly, right, there's all this stuff happening around us, right? So I, as a human being, can make a choice. I can allow myself get caught up in that melee and allow myself get caught up in that chaos and lose myself in it. Or I can decide to separate myself, to still myself, to quiet myself, to
Yeah.
center myself, to align myself, and recognize that I need to be right first in order to see the world properly, don't I?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You and I spoke a little bit yesterday, and we were talking about the observer. Everything is information. It is what it is,
Yeah.
but it's the observer, and it is the lens of our perception that dictate what we're seeing. And I have to share something with you as you're talking. It just popped into my head. I thought it was kind of funny. Years ago, when I found myself on this unintentional spiritual journey, I started working with this woman to help me work through a lot of my imbalances. And I went to her one day and I said to her, "You need to help me out. You need to help me with my husband." I was trying to change my husband because I was going to kill him, right? And I was like, "Yeah, help me change my husband," right? That was the perspective. She said, "Here's what we need to do. First, we're going to help you not kill your husband, and then yeah, and then we're going to help you not want to kill your husband."
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me because it was never, and I know this now, it was never about him. It was never about the way he chewed. It was never about the way the way he talked to me. It was always about me and my perception of what he was doing. And everything he did was a mirror for me, reflecting back to me, what triggered me, like what I needed to reconcile.
Mm.
But the idea of first don't kill him. Okay, let's get stabilized, and then you'll learn how not to want to kill him. So
Yeah.
when I look at humanity and I see all the chaos that's going on in the world, and I see people how they're reacting to it, and everybody's different depending on their lens of perception, depending on their imbalances or balances for that matter, how centered they are. So first, we got to stabilize people and say, okay, we understand that things are chaotic, but I can do something about it. Okay, now how do I kill my husband? How do I not react? How do I not go crazy based on all this information's coming at me? And that's why I'm so proud of this,
Yeah.
because it is really the textbook step by step how to deep dive with itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's a guidebook, right? It's a guide for life.
Ah,
It's a
yep.
guide for life. It's a guide for my life and your life, and for those who are on this path, who are those who are considering this path, you will be able to align with the words in this book because you'll know that the words in this book are coming from a place of truth, a place of honesty, a place of authenticity, a
Yeah,
place of
for
power.
sure.
You know, there is
Yeah.
you there is universal wisdom in these pages that I find, and Dana, you know my history, you know my story, you know where I've been. I've picked up many books in my life, but I've never picked up a more powerful book as
Mm.
this one. Because I
You
think
know,
I think you set up the treble, right? You set up the treble really, really well, right? You warmed up with the 10 recs. You went into second, third gear with decoding the woo woo, but you drove into fifth gear with the woo woos you were.
you know what's really cool? The couple things that you read, the thing about belief is in the Roman numerals. It's like before, I think, even the table of contents.
Yeah.
Then the chapter one, the first things first, it's like, okay, if you're buying into these 10 concepts, then you're ready to move on. And then I proceeded to write about things that I had mentioned in the first two books. I was very careful with this book to make sure that if you hadn't picked up 10 Rex or hadn't picked up Decoding the Woo, that this would not be foreign to you. Like I was very careful about that. But if you start to read it and the concepts feel a little heady, then maybe you go back to those books. But you
Yeah,
don't need, if you're with it, like if it's speaking to you, you don't need those books. It's like you don't need to see the first two movies to see the third one. And that's
yeah.
that's how I wrote this, you know?
I love that. I love that. But in having the three books together now as I do, and it's wonderful to have them in my library. My Phenom Publishing library is expanding almost on a month-to-month basis, and it's wonderful to see that. To see the depth and breadth of your work in one place is absolutely incredible. And I think, would it be would it be true to say that your wisdom has come with a certain maturity, and your experiences have led you on a road that have allowed you, or even opened you up to this universal wisdom that up until then you had no idea. When you stepped off that plate in 2015, and when you decided to pick up a paintbrush, right? That started a whole different chapter in your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. Sure. I talk a lot about this in different ways and different pieces, like later on in the book, when after you get yourself aligned, and I talk about our spiritual giftedness.
Yeah.
We all have natural proclivities. Like we all were born and there's natural things about us. Some people are artists, some people are athletes, some people have a sense of compassion that it just comes from a deep, a profound place, right?
Mm.
And as life kind of knocks us around a little bit, it gets muddied. Like our giftedness gets muddied. We tend to apologize for ourselves, try to shrink ourselves, or we just get knocked around. We get damaged a little bit. But when we clear that out through whatever work we're doing, through learning from the lessons, reconciling imbalances, overcoming obstacles, our giftedness begins to expand. So you said about my wisdom, the wisdom is always there. We're
Yeah.
born with these natural tendencies. We're born with these gifts, these knowings, but we just have to sort of clean it out. Some people don't get banged around a lot. So they don't even have the opportunity to overcome and to grow and to learn from it.
Mm.
But people who have had difficult experiences, and that's all of us,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But when we've had traumas and trials and tribulations, we are taught, we are conditioned in a lot of ways to stuff it down, to numb it, to ignore it, to distract ourselves. And therefore, there is no growth, there is no evolution.
Mm.
But when we have the courage to really face ourselves and really unravel it and become bigger, better, stronger, to alchemize essentially, to transmute it into something greater, then our wisdom expands. And whatever our natural proclivities were, whatever our gifts, expand. I was always artistic. I was always creative as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 7, it was like the first thing I wanted to do. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a veterinarian or an artist. And you stuff it down because I'm now surviving and I have to go get a job that pays the bills, and you don't, and I didn't entertain that creative aspect of myself because I was still stuck. And if you're looking at it developmentally the way I do, in security, in safety, in grounding myself. How can I even look at creativity if I'm still here?
Yeah.
But once this got reconciled, my creativity opened up. And then when I embraced that, it just continued to expand. And then all the other aspects of myself started coming back into alignment. So that's how I see it. We're all gifted. We just have some things to really work out before we can embrace that giftedness fully
Yeah.
and watch it.
Yeah. So really, it comes down to our responsibility. It always comes down to our choice. Do we want to keep ourselves where we are, or do we want to face ourselves off and do the work? And this book speaks candidly about doing the work. It's about getting rid of those obstacles which are blocking us from our true purpose, right? and
Yes.
our
Yes.
true alignment.
Yes, yes, and doing the work is it's something because people could say it's subjective, but it's not. It's not like the real work because a lot of people think the work is looking for things outside of them.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll go get hypnosis or I'll do, and again, I'm not knocking it because it's these are supplemental things and they're great, but no crystal, no sound bowl, none of these external things are going to even going and getting Reiki and things like that. They're not going to bring you into alignment, maybe momentarily,
yeah,
but until you are willing to look at yourself, check your beliefs, restructure irrational beliefs, bring yourself back into alignment, understand that you are the driver of this thing. You have a choice, like you said, until you come to accept these things and understand that everything in your existence is a creation of yours in one way, shape, or form.
yeah.
Then you're not going to really be able to move forward because you're still avoiding and attempting to throw a band-aid on it.
Yeah, and on that, our perceptions can be flawed, right? Because our perceptions are based on the life experiences that we've had. So, if for example, we've all had traumas, we've all had, bad experiences. We could speak all day about, your life and my life and where we are, right? So our perception, if we concentrate on those experiences, will be flawed because we will see the world in that particular way, won't we? We'll see it in terms of trauma, we'll see it in terms of abuse, we'll see it in terms of fear, so we won't open ourselves up. But if we stand before the mirror, and look at ourselves as we are, as true creators of our own universe, right? Then we have the opportunity to do something beautiful. We have the opportunity to change and create the world that we want to create based on based on our true mission, vision, alignment, and purpose. I know we speak about it often, but it's when you find that, it's when you find that gold, it's when you find that nugget in the sand that gleams out of you. You're going to focus in on it, right? You're going to absolutely focus in on it, and you're going to clean it, you're going to polish it, you're going to shine it, you're going to bring it out. You're not going to hide it anymore. You're going to bring it into the light where it can be seen. And I suppose that is your experience, and that is my experience, and that is the experience of those that have shared this journey with us and who are on this journey with us. And I'm shouting out today, our great friend between us both, Angela DeMarco, right, our sister from another mister, who is just the encapsulation of that journey, isn't she?
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing that I think it's important for people to understand. You could stand here on the other side of all of the things that you had to overcome to be here bright and shiny and happy. And I could do the same, and Angela could do the same. And it could appear again from those who are in the muck currently that, well, that's the brass ring. It's not in the cards for me. But unless and that's why these books, all three of them, are so important because
Yeah,
I share the shitstorm that I had to go through to get here,
yeah,
to be able to say shiny, happy, magical, that there is something on the other side. And to get a little like, I don't know if it's esoteric, but a little out there, when you look at some of the great philosophers and even prophets, names that we look to as somebody that we put on people that we worship, put on pedestals,
mm,
they were people who understood what we are beginning to understand, applied it to their lives, and tried to bring it to the people, tried to assist people. But then what happens is it gets turned around. They get put on the pedestal, and then the people still sit in victimization. I'm speaking in very, very broad terms.
yeah,
But what happens is when you see people that are preaching the gospel, this is what you got to do. Life is beautiful. All you have to do is A, B, and C. There's a lot of, well, I can't do that. And I'm telling you, the work is hard. Hard. I can't even tell you how many times I found myself in fetal position, screaming why, blood, sweat, and tears. But when you face it and you come out the other side and you dust yourself off and your friends are there cheering you on, there is nothing better. And your purpose and your sense of fulfillment it just becomes more obvious. And then you follow it even further. And then the shitstorm that you have to go through becomes less and less harrowing because with every shitstorm you go through, it gets easier. I'm telling you, nobody is immune. We all have to go through it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a shiny, happy person, you have to. It fucking sucks. But if you do it, if you do the work, I'm telling you, the rewards are endless. I'm getting off my soapbox.
Yeah. Well, and you're right, right? You know, and my response to that would be, as you know, don't fear the shitstorm. You know, together we'll go through it, and this and these books, this book in particular, gives you the pathway, gives you the, you know, the directions of travel that you need to take in order to get you through that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and we don't do it alone. We do it in conjunction with, you know, a group of people we surround us, and I think for me, as I know it is for you, very important that having an alignment with a group of people in your circle or in your corner that will you boost you up, will support you when you're down, when you are feeling shit, and when you are in the fatal position, will hold you, will you know, be present to you. And I know, you know, Rob, your husband, is massively important. Your kids are massively important. Angela is massively important. I know for me, having a close circle of friends who share my mission, vision, alignment, and purpose, but are also there with me when it does get tough and when it does get shit, right? Because it will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's not all strawberry and roses. It's not all, you know, it's not all cocktail and daiquiris. It is sometimes, and you celebrate the win,
Oh, it is.
you know. But it's also joyful, you know, and that's the one thing that a lot of people forget. We don't have to trudge. If we put joy into our life, we have we open ourselves up to a wider level of creativity, right? If there's no joy, if we're not happy in what we're doing, right, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Seamus, you made so many good points. I'm like trying to like log them and alphabetize them so I could address them. But you you make the point about having the people around you to hold your hair when you're throwing up, for sure.
Yeah.
But what I think people experience is we have our circles that we are in alignment with vibration,
Yeah.
right? And when we make a choice through understanding our self-worth for wanting better, for wanting to follow the joy, for wanting to be happy, when we make that choice and start making changes, we begin to feel a dissonance between the people that we're surrounding with because we are no longer in alignment with them as we are seeking something that is higher in vibration. And what we do is we start to question ourselves. It's uncomfortable, but this is what we've always known. There's maybe a sense of loyalty, a sense of attachment, a sense of fear for what's next. But I'm saying this to anybody that is listening, if you're in this situation, when you let go, which no longer serves you, say it again. When you let go of that which no longer serves you and leave the space for something greater, it always shows up. So if this is specific to the circles that you fly in, travel in, and you have to sever ties, you have to remove yourself, you have to, end relationships, people will show up. So it's like, but nobody's there to hold my hair when I'm throwing up, when things are rough, because I've cut everybody off. They will show up. I call them in my second book, the unicorns. They fall out of the sky because you are in alignment with a new level of person. So I was mentioning earlier how difficult this can be, but when you recognize, when you understand the pattern and the formula of how it works,
Mm.
it becomes easier because you're like, oh, this sucks right now, but I know what's next. I read the last page of the book. I know what's coming, at least metaphorically, not necessarily specifically. And it gets easier and easier. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%. I would. Absolutely, 100%. For me, it's very much in terms of my own experience, and I got rid of a lot. In my life, I've moved a lot of weight, and like you say, Dana, as soon as I did that, new beautiful stuff came into my life. That
Yeah.
that it's even a tenfold difference in terms of what I had. I thought I was happy then, but I wasn't. I'm a lot happier now. Absolutely, and it's that realization that I suppose life is changeable, and life is, it changes, right, on a day to day. Our circumstances change on a day to day, but there is that one guiding principle that I have in my life, that when I know my mission, and I know my vision, and I know my alignment, and I know, who I am. I get to know myself more every single day, through experience and learning and opportunities, and asking those difficult questions. And you ask those difficult questions in the Woo Was You, right? You set the reader, to work. You know,
I'm a
are you being,
teacher.
yeah, are you being authentic? Are you being honest? Where are your blocks? Are you being creative? Where is your alignment? Where is your mission? Where is your vision? What is your vision? What is your mission? Right?
Yeah.
So it's this book isn't an easy ride, because if you take the concepts and the precepts and the principles of this book on board,
Yeah.
then you're in for a roller coaster, right?
I laughed because I had a woman. I was on a Zoom call, and Angela was on the call also. And there was a woman who was like, "Oh, I read 10 Rex," and then she goes, "It was a fun read." And Angela and I looked at each other. We started to laugh because, yeah, I mean, I make jokes, but if you thought it was a fun read, and you didn't read it, or at least
You
you
didn't
didn't read
read
it,
it.
so it cracks me up. So yeah, if you are looking to affect change in your life, then tools are here. The
Yeah.
tools are here. But we had talked about this the other day about the concept of awareness and willingness. It's not enough to be aware of why you. Oh yeah, my mommy didn't love me, and my daddy was a jerk store, and times were tough, whatever. Okay, now I have an understanding of why. But then the willingness to do something about it. And when you feel stuck and angry, lost, and disempowered, it's because you're not willing to affect change. You alluded to it, you said it more than once in this conversation, Seamus, that we have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a choice. Okay. And so when people feel disempowered, they feel they don't have a choice. Now, sometimes the choices all suck, but pick the one that's best for you. Dig yourself out of the pile of shit. And then the next choice will be a little bit more appealing.
Yeah.
And then use that and you dig yourself out a little further. And next thing you know, your choices all become um, doable, enjoyable. And you also mentioned earlier in conversation about joy. People forget we were conditioned to believe we have to suffer and suffer. We're conditioned to believe that everything has to be drudgery or hard work. But at the end of the day, what makes you feel joy? Do that.
Yeah.
And then do more of that. And then you'll have opportunities to overcome some bullshit so you can do more joyful stuff. And when you do them hand in hand, it's like this: more joy, less bullshit. Well, and I say less because the pile, dissipates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are so many beautiful things about this book, Dana, that I could speak to you about. But for the uninitiated, for the
Hmm.
for the people out there who are coming to this for the first time, you guide them through some
Yeah,
really um, uh, big concepts, such as the chakra system, which is, and you do that beautifully. You've described that
thank you.
beautifully. You have, and I read Ten Rex, and I learned more from the Woo Is You than I did in Ten Rex, because
That's cool.
through learning and through, oh, that's how it works, and that's how it works, and this is where the block is, and this is how I need to align, so it follows through. But where I also want to share my thanks with you is that, and I'll share a story with you. There is there's a shopping centre close to me, right? And it's a pretty big shopping centre. Now, I like, I like, I don't mind shopping. I don't, I suppose I'm not as huffy as your husband over shopping, right? But I like shopping. But this one shopping centre, just for some reason or another, always bested me. I hate it. I hate the shopping centre. I hate going into it. I hate being part of it. I find it overwhelming. I find it claustrophobic. I find people's energies are right on top of mine. I feel there's no space. I feel, it's just overwhelming, and I have to get out of it, right? And I wondered, what was that all about? Why do I hate so much? Why do I detest that shopping centre so much? And then I read the Boo with You, and then I got, ah, maybe I'm on a clear journey. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
clear sentient. Maybe I'm picking up the feelings of other people in this shopping centre that, for some strange reason, are just overwhelming me. That I'm not able to put up that barrier. That they're just coming right
Yeah.
in. It's feelings overwhelm. That's what I get
Yeah.
every time I go to that shopping centre, right? And you
Yeah.
describe in your book and really look at, I know about clairvoyance, but you also speak about other clairs that I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of, like clairsentience and
Yeah.
the sense of smell or the sense of taste that
Yeah. Gustance
clairs.
and aliens. Yeah.
Incredible, incredible. Um,
Yeah.
and some really heavy concepts, but broken down in a really simple way, Dana.
Yeah, what's cool is, again, just to give you the breakdown of the book, there's the introduction of don't go in there unless you're ready, right? We covered that, right? That's the introduction. Chapter one, I talk about our personal GPS and how we're all here. We have the ability to navigate the world around us through our emotional guidance, through our physical guidance, through our senses, through understanding our chakra system. So I talk about that in the beginning. Then I break down through the entire book about how this applies to you, right, the reader. But then at the end, I talk about our spiritual gifts, which are built from our personal GPS senses. So just, you mentioned the clairsentience. Clear is clear, right? So clear sentience, the clear ability to feel the energy, because everything's energy. We covered that, right?
Yeah,
So to declare sentience is the ability to feel the energy on a physical level. Clear empathy is to feel the energy on an emotional level, and they often over. But you have your clairvoyance to be able to see the energy in sign symbols, how a dream imagery, however you see it. Clairaudience, to hear it or to receive messages through language auditorily. Right? I think I missed. Then we talked about clairalience, aliens, and gustance about taste and smell. But what do I got? Empathy, sentience, feeling,
buoyant.
sight, hearing. That's
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you got them all.
that's all. So there are other players, but I like to talk about those five. Claircognizance. You just know shit because you know shit, right?
Yeah.
So when our senses, when our natural GPS, when our God-given senses are not blurred, are not muddied by the damage of our experience, and we become open channels, like I mentioned when we began this conversation, then our most natural ways of really learning as kids in school. I was a visual learner primarily. I'm not very auditory at all. I have no ear for music. I can't do accents. Like I'm not auditory, but I'm very, very visual and I'm very, very feeling. So when my channel became clear, when I aligned myself, all of a sudden my clairsentience blew up, my clairvoyance blew up, my ability to understand my dream imagery blew up, and other things as well. And that's what you're talking about. So you've always been clairsentient, you've always been a feeler. But the more this work you do, and the more you clear out the gunk of your trauma and drama, all of a sudden you're like, what is happening? But you did say something that you can't put up a shield, but you can, because with the awareness that this is the way you operate, there are things that you can do to protect your energy when going to a concert. when going to the that mall, that place to shop. And so by being aware of, oh, I'm super hypersensitive, I can do these things, these tips, and it will help me when I go out into public. You could do that with all your sensitivities. What we've been doing up until now, because we don't have this awareness, is drugging ourselves, avoiding us, avoiding whatever, distracting ourselves. And those are band-aids and those are coping mechanisms that don't work in helping us develop our greatest. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely does.
A lot of hands involved, so it
Yeah,
had to work.
yeah, it's got yeah.
Your little
We're
three-card Monty in
yeah,
there.
we're, we're all you and I are really handy people, right? We speak with our hands all the time.
Oh my God, my husband names him. He's like, oh, we're chopping now. We're climbing a mountain. Okay, yeah. So he's got them all named.
Um, Dana, we've just nearly run out of time. I
Oh
could,
wow.
I know, man. It just goes so quick when I speak to you every single time. I just want to say how proud I am of Phenom Publishing, how proud I am
Mm,
of the work that you and Angela are doing to put a label behind the work that you do and actually print stories and print work that are true to the mission, vision, and alignment and purpose
yeah.
of Phenom Publishing. I also want to really thank you for I suppose taking me on board as a creative soon to be author in my own right, and my own story will hopefully hit the shelves later on sometime this year. But for people who don't know about Phenom Publishing, and your work in collaboration with Angela. Tell us a little bit about that because it's different than your normal label, right? It's different than your normal label.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. In Phenom Publishing, we take pride in sharing stories of people who have faced themselves, overcome the worst,
Mm,
and bring it to others to assist them in their journey. And we really lead the way in doing so. We pave the way, and we're very selective with the authors that we choose because we feel very strongly about them being in alignment with our vision.
mm,
And we also feel very strongly about collaborating with our authors, not changing what they're doing to fit an economic profile. Oh, this is going to make us money. No, no, no. This is really about us bringing the heart and the soul of the author to life, doing it collaboratively with our gifts to assist in doing so, and inspiring others in the process. So that's what we're doing. We're relatively new, but we have a pretty strong library. We have about a dozen books, and
yeah.
we have, I think we have two in process that we're working on, and we have a couple on deck. So by the end of the year, we're looking at high teens at least in how many books that we've published. And Angela and I, we are such and I'll say it, an amazing collaborative team because
Absolutely.
our strengths are complementary to one another. This is me doing the Venn diagram, by the way. This is Venn. If you're
This is
listening,
Venn
I'm doing Venn
diagram.
diagram hands.
Okay.
But our strengths are definitely complementary, but we share in the center. We share a mission, we share a vision, and we share a dedication to bringing these stories to life. And we create magic in doing so. And we're both so very proud of what we do, how we do it, and those that we bring into our energetic field, you know? So it's exciting. So the fact that you, Seamus, are so pure of heart, oh my God, you are definitely one of the most special people I have ever met, in that you have such love in your heart and your ability to embrace all, to embrace everyone, and to see the trueness in all things is unique, and it's something that you should really be proud of. And
Thank
we
you.
see that, and we see that you see it in us. And when we're able to live in our authenticity, all of us, and stand in it, then we align with others like us, and that's how you change the world. Not by yelling at the TV, not by trolling somebody on social media, but by being the brightest of what and who you are, aligning with others like you, and moving forward together. So thank you for being a part of the movement, we'll call it.
And thank you for having me. And I'm your number one super fan in Western Europe. I really am number one super fan in the UK. I don't think there's anyone bigger than me in the UK at the moment, flying the flag for phenom-publishing.com at the moment. And I'm excited. I'm excited. Now that you've told me there's more books in the works, I need to work harder. I need to earn more.
Yeah, we're starting to create a queue here, It's
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
Well, I've got a shelf in my library just dedicated to Phenom Publishing. That's my shelf right now. If you don't believe me, I'll take a picture after this call and send it on to you, Dana, because that's my
Oh,
Phenom.
I believe you.
That's my Phenom shelf. And I've got a beautiful picture created by one of my grandchildren who sits at the back. So it's a very ethereal, universal, beautiful, energetic picture. So it just creates that vibe within that shelf that it's something special, it's something unique, and that's what Phenom Publishing for me is. And I'm so honored and humbled and privileged and blessed to be part of the work that you and Angela continue to do in bringing such light, love, happiness, peace, mission, alignment, vision, and purpose to the world. And I hope more and more people, align themselves to Phenom Publishing, because you know um, they won't lose out, and they'll gain much in terms of wisdom, understanding, clarity, mission, vision, value, and purpose in terms of their own life. Um, the book, The Wushu, it's obviously the third book in the series, Dana. The 10 Recommandments to Personal Empowerment is the first one. Decoding the Woo Woo is the second one, and then the Wushu is the third one. Where can where can people get those? Can they buy those directly from you at phenom-publishing.com, or are they available elsewhere? What's the best process?
I think the best process is to go to phenom-publishing.com, because when you go there, you get to see them in their natural habitat. You get to see them with their brothers and sisters and really get the feel for the entire Phenom body of work. But go to phenom-publishing.com, and it's a designed website, absolutely beautiful. But again, by the wizard
Beautiful.
Angela DeMarco. So just for her efforts alone, go to phenom-publishing.com. Join the Phenom Readers Club. We put out a newsletter twice a month. That is it. We don't spam you. We're not all up in your inbox or anything like that. But we send two newsletters a month just to give people an understanding of promotions, of what's coming up, of what we're working on, and just really kind of keep you in the loop. If you go to the website, you could just subscribe. And again, I think we even say it. We don't spam you, and then you could be in the loop of what we're doing. If you're looking for me, you can go to Instagram. Like, I'm on other social media, but Instagram, I put out little video every day, just sort of hot tips, uplifting things that you could do in the here, in the now, some of my musings, and just really help keep you motivated while doing the work. Because again, like we mentioned earlier, it's not easy, but when you have guidance, when you have support, and when you have faith, there's nothing you can't do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dana Sardano, it's always a pleasure and a privilege and an honor to have you on my show. I've waited months to have this podcast episode with you, because the book was in purpose, and it's lovely to see it finally being published and in my hand. I wish you well with the book. I wish you well with the series. I wish you well with the trilogy. I wish you well with Phenom Publishing, and all the books that are in the series, and all the books that are coming down the track as well. I just need to work harder for the next few months, so I'm able to afford, get notebooks, because I'm your number one, not only your number one fan, but also your number one collector right now of some, for me, of great works of art. And great works of wisdom, and yes, I will look forward to those coming down the line. Dana, thank you ever so much for being an amazing guest as always, and I wish you well and have a wonderful weekend when it comes.
I adore you, Seamus. Thank you.